brought to you in part by Stardust. Download the app and start sharing your reactions to movies, trailers, and TV shows today. Follow Jaby Koay first and tag us in your first video. Hello people, I'm Jaby Koay, joined by ACHARA KIRK.
Hello.
We're gonna talk about Tiger ZINDA, the sequel to Ek the Tiger. I've been saying Ek the Tiger, and someone corrected me hardcore on the comments the other day.
Ek the Tiger.
Anyway, I know some of you have been wondering where the Drishyam review is. That is coming next. This is just like fresh, so we did this first, and I apologize to those of you who are waiting for that. The way we're gonna do this is the following. First, we're gonna give you our general thoughts, then we're gonna bring in some clips from people from Stardust who talked about Tiger ZINDA, and then we're gonna go into a detailed breakdown. Nothing will have spoilers until towards the end of this video, so don't worry about that stuff if you haven't seen the movie yet. This comes from IMDb, Tiger ZINDA, aka Tiger is Alive. That's how it's labeled here on IMDb, which I think is cool. This is the one-liner. Inspired by real events, Tiger ZINDA is a sequel to the blockbuster Ek the Tiger and an espionage action drama that follows a daring rescue mission in Iraq. I like this way better than Ek the Tiger.
I agree.
This is just a superior film all around. From the acting, the action, the music, everything. Just all around, this was a much better film. We got a lot more of Katrina Kaif in here.
Yes.
If you're just wondering whether or not you should watch the movie, I would say go see it. Yes, it's a longer film, but that didn't bother me. I would rather watch this 2-3 more times than watch Ek the Tiger. Not that there's anything wrong with Ek the Tiger. It wasn't an offensive film, but I would just rather watch Tiger ZINDA again. There are things I really didn't like, but I'll get more into that later on.
I really enjoyed this movie as well. Like you, I thought it was a better movie. I enjoyed the action. You know how we said in the first movie, the tone felt kind of mixed? I felt like this time round, it was very much an action movie.
Right, it was more consistent.
Yeah, and of course, Katrina Kaif. Oh my God, what a woman.
Yeah.
I love her.
So if you're wondering whether or not you should go watch it, like I said earlier, I would definitely say go watch it, especially if you've seen the first one, especially if you're a Salman Khan fan. This film is worthwhile. It's worth checking out. It's a good time. You get your money's worth, certainly, out of this film.
Before we went to watch the movie, we asked you guys if you'd like to share your thoughts with us on Tiger ZINDA on the Stardust app. So here are some reviews from Stardust.
Tiger ZINDA is quite enjoyable, a little bit lengthy. Katrina Kaif's action scenes are better than Salman's action scenes.
Typical Salman action movie. It has everything that a Bollywood movie needs to offer. The plot is very gripping. Katrina has done some beautiful action scenes and the message is very good.
It was the best Salman Khan movie of this year and it's way better than Two Blind. It has so much action.
Very good movie, action-packed, but some bad acting, some moments of bad acting. Excellent movie, just go and watch it.
For the first time when I watched it, it was like, yeah, it's a good movie. I would give it 3 out of 5. But then I watched it for the second time and I was blown away by its action, its story. It was really nice. Katrina, oh my God.
So we'd love to hear your thoughts on films in the future. You guys download the app using the link in the description below. Make sure to follow Jaby Koay first and tag ACHARA on Twitter after you upload your first video. This way we can add your video to our next review for whatever film we do. We try to give you guys a heads up on Instagram and Twitter, so keep a lookout for those. If you guys don't know anything about Stardust, it allows you to record reviews between 3 and 30 seconds long for movies, trailers, and TV shows. Please join the conversation. We hope to see you there today. Covering ACHARA's face is a breakdown of what we're gonna discuss over the course of this review. We'll try our best to stick to each of those bullet points. You're nodding even though they can't see your face right now. Now they can, okay? Now you can do all the nodding. I want this to be my first thing because it's the thing I hated most, and I just want to get it out of the way. Most of the white actors in the movie were terrible. Just absolutely atrocious. I thought they were all English, but they may have been from different regions. I think they just all got picked up off the street in Abu Dhabi. The casting person was just like, hey, you look like you could come and do this movie.
Can you read a script?
Yeah.
Yes.
Can you do an American accent? Yeah, I guess I can. All the American accents across the board were horrible.
God.
Absolutely atrocious. I'm sure that any of you guys who are from India watching this might say the same thing about Hindi being spoken here in the States if you catch it in a movie. I'm sure you experience the same kind of thing. I just absolutely found it vile, how horrible the American accents were.
It did kind of take you out of it because it'd be like, oh, this scene's in the CIA. But why is that dude sounding like an English guy who's struggling with doing an American accent?
Right, exactly.
Or like, why is there a Russian in the CIA?
Right.
That took me out of it.
You know, with Donald Trump, who knows? It's not just the accents though, the acting. Especially in comparison to everyone else in the film. This film had nothing but good actors as far as I could tell. Salman Khan did a much better job this time around than he did in the previous film. I'll come back to that in a second. All the white actors for the most part, except for like the shop lady at the beginning of the movie that Katrina Kaif was buying something from, most of the white actors in the film were just awful, and I just needed to get that off my chest. It's like every time they spoke, I'm just like, ugh! Even the guy at the CIA, the first one we see, who says, oh my God. He couldn't even say oh my God correctly. He was like shaking his head like, oh my God. I'm like, why? All of the white actors were bad, except for the shop lady and maybe one other person. It annoyed me to hell. One of the first complaints I heard about the movie was the length. I noticed the length of the movie. It was certainly longer than the first one, but I didn't mind it. I actually enjoyed the length of the movie.
When I first bought the tickets for us, I saw it was a 2 hour and 45 minute long movie. I was like, oh boy, we're in for a ride. I sure hope that they have an interval, which they didn't. When I was watching it, it did feel kind of long, but you know, like when we watched Blade Runner, that felt like a 5 hour movie.
Right.
This did not feel like that.
I think the movie's still going, actually. Here's the thing about Tigers into High. It's got a really long opening act. It's like a 30-minute long opening to set up all the stakes in this world with the nurses. You don't see Salman Khan for like 30 minutes of the movie. Well, I'm exaggerating. I'm grossly exaggerating. But you don't see him for a very long time. I thought that was actually cool that they pushed how long it was before you actually saw the star of the film, the leading character of the movie. They're giving you the world and just kind of setting everything up. That's what made the movie so long. That and the one music video that was in the film that I disagreed with its existence in the movie. I was actually fine with the length. I was fine with the pacing. It actually moved along really nicely for me.
They did really well just telling the story, and they took the appropriate amount of time.
The first 5 minutes of any movie is really supposed to set you up on the tone you're gonna experience for the rest of the film. So when you hear me mention tone and inconsistent tones, that's what I'm talking about, where the first 10, 15, 20 minutes kind of sets the stage for what you're kind of gonna experience the rest of the movie. And then suddenly you have this radical shift. I notice it more often in South Indian films where the shift is very, very sharp. It's less noticeable in Bollywood films, but it's still there sometimes, particularly in Ek the Tiger. You had like hardcore action and then hardcore romance and then hardcore action again. And it's like, wait, these are two different movies kind of just put together. Here, that was a lot less noticeable.
Oh, did you mean Ek the Tiger?
And I thought to myself, shit, how'd I mess that up?
Yes, that's what I meant. I'm sorry.
Okay.
So in Ek the Tiger was a lot more noticeable. Here, it was a lot less noticeable.
Gotcha.
It was still there, though. There was still a mixture of tone, more in the music than anything else. And I'll talk more about that in a hot second. Overall, I like the tone of the movie. Like you were saying earlier, it was a lot more focused on action. It was a lot more serious. I love the first 20 minutes of it just moved it along at a very strong pace, giving you the world and everything going on, the politics of everything and what they need to do. Like, they needed the best of the best to go in there to resolve this matter. I thought that was all cool stuff. The part that kind of got me messed up was when they went really commercial at any point in the movie, like super, super commercial. Namely, the first time we see Katrina Kaif, Salman Khan, and their kid together. Actually, the first time we see Tiger and his kid together, that was a very commercial moment as well.
Yeah.
The snowboarding and whatnot, I'm like, okay, well, that's, you know.
I
But
liked it.
I mean, it was fun, but it was inconsistent with the rest of the movie,
Right.
Because so much of the film feels more real. It feels more like it's trying to go for realism, and then all of a sudden you'll have these explosive fantasy moments. I'm like, okay, you were expecting that, right?
Yeah, I went in fully knowing that this was gonna be another over-the-top action, and if I go in knowing that, I enjoy it 100%.
Right.
It's super fun.
I agree with you. The thing is, I was expecting it as well, but then the first 20 minutes of the movie happened and none of that was there. It was all like very serious.
Yeah.
I don't know how else to put it. It felt like it was more based in reality, even though the premise of the movie is you're sending in this, solid snake. You're sending in this one guy alone. They actually had a team in the movie, so that's a little different. But you're sending in the one guy they need to take care of this, right?
Yeah.
I get it. It's like a Tom Clancy story or something like that. That still works for me even in a serious setting. Every now and then you had these things that were just kind of getting chased by wolves and the way that was handled.
That's just to show how cool Salman Khan is. He's so cool, he can take on a pack of wolves and not kill a single one.
It wasn't him taking on wolves that bothered me. It's the way it was done. It felt ultra commercial. With the music, it was the music that bugged me. Every time the theme song came in strong, it really bothered me because the rest of the music was so good. I loved the score of the movie. It felt kind of like Hans Zimmer from not Inception. Yes, Inception. It felt like Hans Zimmer from Inception, where it just had that kind of, it kept you on the edge of your seat.
Yeah.
And I loved that feeling. Like, it just kept the movie moving forward because the music was so well done. And then out of nowhere explodes the theme song of the movie, this like crazy techno guitar, and I'm like,
You know know what? I didn't have a problem with that though. I actually really enjoyed that. I know I'm going in for this over-the-top action movie, and every time that song comes on, it makes me feel like, yes, the hero is here. Kind of like how in Wonder Woman, when her theme came on when she was about to do something super cool. It's the same sort of thing here. It like made my excitement level go up because I knew that Salman Khan was about to kick some butt,
Right,
you know?
right. I get it. It's just when you compare it to the rest of the score and you compare it to like that guitar music that was kind of like sorrowful, I was like, this music is great. Why are they mixing this with this other song? And the music video was so out of place for me. Like, I know that music videos are a necessary component in some Bollywood films, but like here, you only had the one song. I'm like, well, couldn't you just not have that one song? Then it would have been like more consistent across the board. I know like I'm being super nitpicky. I didn't care for that song though. I didn't care for that scene. It didn't move it forward for me. I would have shortened your movie by a good 7 minutes.
To a certain extent, I agree with you. It felt completely out of place, you know, like her waking up and looking so gorgeous. And
Nobody wakes up that hot.
I do, shut up.
Except for Gal Gadot.
It felt kind of out of place, but I realized that it was also there to show how much he loved her, how much he loved his wife.
Remember the part
you know
where he
what I mean?
like painted her face on the snow?
Oh, that was so funny.
I was like, how did you...
What happened?
Like, you have to know that's kind of silly, right? Like, he's just throwing colors on there and then it just shows up as her... Like, a perfect Photoshop replication of her face on the snow.
But that's so awesome.
Yeah.
I mean...
ACHARA turned to me, she goes, are you taking notes? I know that some people are going to criticize me and be like, well, Hollywood does this and goes over the top here, like Fast and the Furious. And I'm like, I know, I get that. But I didn't... When you watch this movie, you're not expecting Fast and the Furious in terms of tone. You're expecting something more along the lines of a Tom Clancy film or...
Jack Reacher?
Yeah. Jack Reacher's a good example. It had a consistent tone. It was an action film, but it was like, it had a serious... you know, nature to it.
Yeah, and then also he's a super badass hero. Who
Right.
can do things that no normal human being can do.
What I'm trying to get at is, overall, I liked what the director was doing throughout the film. I just didn't like it when it got super commercial. I'm just gonna get through this to get to the more good stuff that the movie has to offer.
Right.
There was a lot of great stuff in the film, and I think the director overall did a great job. There were some poignant moments where I was like, I was feeling the tension in the movie. And then there were other moments where I was like, okay, well, this is super commercial again. We're gonna talk about acting and action together because I feel like it's kind of intertwined here. I wanna start off with talking about Salman Khan because I feel like he totally went Ryan Gosling in this movie. I was trying to figure it out, like, I was trying to figure out if he just didn't care anymore or if that was just how he was approaching this role. Either way, it worked.
Yeah.
Like, he was just doing almost nothing and you were projecting onto him what he was, like, you're feeling, right? And it worked really well. That's the Ryan Gosling effect. Ryan Gosling does nothing, and that's what he's good at. He just, you know, is blank, and you project onto him the emotion. It's really bizarre, and I think Salman Khan did a good job of just doing nothing sometimes.
Right, yeah.
Because it made it feel more real and more grounded and understated. And so his acting style was consistent with everyone else's acting style in the film, except for the white actors. All the Indian, or brown, if that's okay to say, all the brown actors in the film did a great job. All of them. Especially Salman Khan and Katrina Kaif. I loved what they did.
Yeah.
I loved the Indian soldiers that came with Salman Khan. I loved the Pakistani soldiers that came with Katrina Kaif. Everyone did such a wonderful, you know, acting performance.
Until you said that Salman Khan had that kind of Ryan Gosling effect, it didn't quite like hit me.
Right.
And then now I'm like, oh yeah, he totally did, because he was so stoic throughout, and I think that really worked for his character. And I've always liked Katrina Kaif's acting in Ek the Tiger, and in this, she was really understated and just very natural.
Even in the simple things like her being tied up, in her eyes, you can see just how much
Yeah.
she's been through. Now, on that, I liked what they did action-wise. I thought Salman Khan did a better job this time around with the action. I thought the movie all around, I forgot to mention that before, like, I think that the movie all around did action far superior than Ek the Tiger. On that, Katrina Kaif, she must have had training.
Oh my
because
God.
the way she's moving with the gun, the way she's moving physically, she's doing an amazing job.
Such a badass.
Yeah.
I was just like, I wish that they had more scenes with her doing action. Like, it felt like it took ages for her to join in on the action, and then when she did, she was so awesome.
Right.
I just wanted to see her do more.
You had that same complaint for Ek the Tiger.
I know, she definitely got to do more in this. You definitely got to see why she was such a valued Pakistani Secret Service agent. I felt like in Ek the Tiger, she was just kind of like, oh, maybe they were just using her because she was pretty and she could get into rooms that men couldn't. But But in this movie, you could really see that she could actually handle herself really well.
I think I'm gonna label this the Tomorrow Never Dies effect, where they basically gimped Michelle Yeoh to not upstage James Bond. And so here, I think they really did her fair in this movie, to be perfectly honest, given that she's a supporting actress and not the main actor or actress of the film. Salman Khan is the star, and so you can't have her upstage him, even though, honestly, I feel like she kind of did. I think she got more action scenes than he did. I would have liked to have seen more action with her, I agree with you, but I get why they wouldn't do more than what they did. One of the things that this film did, which the previous film did as well, is talk about the idea of India and Pakistan working together to fight the common enemy. If I was Indian, I would probably feel like they're spoon-feeding it quite a bit, but maybe the audience needs that. As an outsider, it didn't feel like spoon-feeding, it felt like educational. There was a scene where the soldiers were talking and they're like, if we weren't fighting each other, if we weren't at odds with each other, we could put money here and put money here and put money here. And I'm like, that's right. You could put money there, there, and there. See, I don't know what to make of it because it seems like the tension and the hatred is very real. It's as real as Vice says it is. Because especially when I hear people talking about whenever Pakistan beats India in a cricket match or something like that, it's just like the whole country's depressed, right? The tension is as high as it's ever been. And so it seems like this is truly a fantasy, this idea of India and Pakistan coming together and working together towards a common goal. It sounds really nice, and the movie is talking about something that sounds really, really cool. But it also acknowledges this may not ever happen. Even though it's a far-fetched idea, I think it's great that the movie's talking about it. I think that it's great to keep bringing this up, this hope that maybe someday we won't have that tension quite as much, and we can work together to make that whole land a better place for everybody, because there are good people on both sides of the border. There's no reason for us to hate each other as much as we do. This is me saying this as an outsider. I hope no offense to anyone comes from me saying that. I just hope for, world peace.
Is this your Miss America speech?
What? No, I'm saying that I just in general prefer people coming together and working together and holding hands instead of fighting. That's just my general feeling. And so what the movie stands for, I am in full agreement with. I really, really like that, and I can get behind that message.
And I think it's a great vehicle as well because it is a commercial movie. A lot of people are going to watch it. It's action. And then you kind of hide the message in there.
It's not really hidden, but yes.
But you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's kind of like you don't go in there thinking, this is a movie where they're gonna try and make us be friends with Pakistanis. It's like, this is a really fun action movie, and it also has a message about not letting prejudice cloud your judgment and being able to work together and how much you have in common when you realize that actually you're all just people.
They do a good job of illustrating just the amount of tension between the two. I think they did a solid job of representing that in the movie and showing at least a somewhat realistic path towards them working together. Maybe it wasn't the most realistic, but I felt like they did a pretty good job. I didn't like the Rambo gun thing. This feeds into the over-the-top thing that you enjoyed. When Salman Khan comes out there with the big bazooka like Arnold Schwarzenegger at the near end of Terminator 2 and is just blowing people away, I'm like, okay, I get it, I understand, but that wasn't the movie you set up. He's a human being. There's no reason that bullets wouldn't be able to hit him.
You often talk about the John McClane effect, and I had noticed that they did try and make him look like, he got a little bit of blood on his face, or a little bit beat up. Yeah. He got beat up, but I never felt that he sustained those injuries. You know what I mean? Like in Die Hard, when Bruce Willis had to walk on the broken glass and his feet were all messed up, he struggled. You could feel his struggle every time he moved. But Salman Khan was like, ooh, I got punched or whatever. I'm good though.
Poison gas? Who cares?
Who cares?
Yeah. Well, Katrina Kaif got her ass handed to her a lot in this movie.
Yeah.
She certainly felt the John McClane effect. Them escaping the blast at the end of the movie really bugged me. On one hand, I didn't want them to die, but on the other hand, I kind of wanted them to because it's like there was no way they were gonna escape that. There was just no way. Of course, they flash back to it. He hits the chain, but now he's able to get it, and then they run off. I'm like, what? The bomb already. That's where it goes back to being commercial. And that's almost like, I still wish the toys at the end of Toy Story 3 died. That was my Toy Story 3 moment again, because I'm like, I just wanted them to die in that moment, because then that would have been super patriotic. They died fighting for their country, for their people, to save their people. But then you can't have a third movie, which is, I get it. They want to be able to keep this franchise going. It's a successful franchise. You want to be able to keep making money off of it. So I understand. But don't put them in a situation that is absolutely freaking impossible to get out of. That's my only thing.
So this is my thing, right? If Disney did action movies, this would kind of be it. And I'm saying this because I felt like there was a lot of danger. There were dangerous things happening.
Yeah.
But I knew my two main characters would never be really in danger. They would always survive and they would get out. That's what I felt like. It was dangerous, but it wasn't really dangerous.
I don't
what
know.
I mean?
Like Katrina Kaif, I thought a couple of times she might have been gone. I'm more of a sucker today than I was 10 years ago. I genuinely thought when they came in ready to blast her that she was done. She only had one bullet. I'm like, there's no way she's gonna get out of that. She's dead. And then she's alive and she gets tossed into the well, and I'm like, she might be dead.
I know, at that moment I was kind of like, are they?
Right.
But then that was when my Disney thing kicked in and I was like, no, they can't, she's the main character.
I didn't like the fight scene at the end when he like takes out the dude in 2 seconds. I guess the movie was already getting long. They only had 30 minutes, which felt like 50 or more. If you guys don't know what I'm talking about, there was like this 30-minute countdown before the asshole Americans were gonna drop the bombs, which sounds real, but I'm not gonna like even try to like front.
Bringing back to that though, apparently in the real life counterpart, the embassies told America to please not bomb the hospital because they had hostages there and America listened.
That actually is surprising. I'm surprised America listened. Just to wrap up one other thought I just mentioned a second ago, I didn't like that fight scene. It was like way too quick. Dude tosses, I forgot to talk about him. Well, I'm talking about it now. For the most part, I liked the villain. I thought he was a good villain for the most part.
Yes! Oh my gosh, yeah, how could we forget the villain? He was awesome.
Yeah, there were times where I was like, nah, you're right. For the most part, he had this threatening presence. Him and his junior in command had this kind of threatening presence about them. I thought they did a really good job overall bringing that kind of attitude, that kind of stone cold look in their eyes. I thought they were scary. I thought they did a good job for the most part. There were some moments that were questionable, but overall they did a good job. That final fight scene, I was really upset by because you've spent all this time building up this face-off between these two characters, the main hero and the main villain, and then it's over like that. I'm like, for all this commercial explosive shit, like that's how you ended it? Like you could have done something a little bit more fantasy-esque. For everything else, you cut out the music video and give me more fight scene. But that was my feeling. There was a lot of action up to that point, so I got my money's worth out of the movie. Like I said, I gave this 4 out of 5 stars on Stardust. I really like this movie and I would totally watch it again. There were things I obviously didn't appreciate that I would have preferred removed. I would almost be willing to do my own cut of this movie just to see that version, if I could like dub some of the music out. Overall, I thought it was a fantastic movie. I liked it a lot. I liked what Salman Khan brought. I loved Katrina Kaif. I stayed for just a couple minutes during the credits to watch Katrina Kaif dance, and then I bounced.
To me, this is just a really fun blockbuster movie. You're gonna have a good time at the cinema. That if you like action, this is definitely a good one for you.
Once again, if you guys want to contribute to the next review we do, make sure you're following us on Instagram and Twitter because that's where we announce the next film we're about to do. Please subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Check out ACHARA KIRK on the social media. If you want to see our Western stuff or video game related videos, go over to youtube.com/JabyTV. I'm Jaby Koay. This is
ACHARA KIRK.
Peace out.